Today, we are going to discuss the big real estate stories of 2023, at least according to me. Big, like the word beauty, can be a relative term and is subject to the opinion of the beholder. In this case, yours truly is the beholder. And in my humble opinion, these are the big stories of 2023. Wherever you listen to us, if you would kindly just do me two little favors. Number one, subscribe. And number two, tell a friend. Just spread the word and encourage someone else to listen to this if you find it helpful. Okay. Shout out to our sponsor today, which is us, the Flipping America Network, aka The Fan. Start your investing career with a plan that includes knowledge, skills, mindset, and the systems you need. Get your own investing roadmap with step-by-step directions wherever you are. Look, flipping houses is not for everyone, but there are multiple different routes to get to your destination of financial freedom. You can use your member dashboard to track your progress and access a variety of real estate investing courses, communicate with other members, and review recently recorded coaching calls, and buy and sell investment properties. It's all right there for you at The Fan. The website is flippingamerica.net, and you want to go to flippingamerica.net/memberships. We are in pre-launch mode, so use the code pre-launch half off. Boy, that's a complicated code, isn't it? Pre-launch half off. All of the memberships are reasonably priced to begin with, but for a limited time, they're all half off. For example, our coaching membership gets you unlimited access to our full library of courses. Everything from getting started to rehabbing houses and a lot of things in between. You could join a group coaching call each week where we review deals and answer your specific questions. Normally, this membership is a very reasonable $99 a month, but right now it's half price, $49.50. There's no contract to sign. Stay as long as you want. Stopping your membership is easy as a couple of clicks. If you sign up now at the half price rate, you're locked in. Even when the pre-launch sale ends and prices inevitably go up, as long as you remain a member, you are in at this special price. Now, I need to tell you, there are also a few slots open in my one-on-one investor training for 2024. This is your investing superhighway. I'll have you set up and making offers on properties in just a few weeks, and I'll be right there looking at your accepted offers with you, going over your rehab budgets, whatever it is you need. There are only a few more slots left, so if you want this, please sign up today. Learn more, flippingamerica.net. Right there on the home page, you have links to either the one-on-one or our memberships. All right, on to the big stories of 2023. I've got 10 big stories. Now, these are in no particular order. It's the order I thought of them, really. I thought about ranking them in terms of their importance, but I started to do that and realized, you know what, I don't know which of these are more important than the others. And this is all pretty much my opinion anyway. So here are the top 10 in no particular order, big stories for real estate investing of 2023. Number one, the unofficial coming of age of the ADU. The accessory dwelling or adjacent dwelling unit. The A stands for different things depending on who you're talking to. This is where you create another living space on your property. It's a big thing that's happening in a lot of metro areas around the country. And we probably are going to do at least one show on this topic in 2024 because it's becoming a thing. There is even a training out there for it, and there are people that are not only teaching this but can manage it for you. And it's not too different than number two. My number two is co-rooming is back. Now, we have done shows on this already, but the rooming house idea, it's an old idea that has circled back around, but it is back. And now I can say it is officially back because there is a new Zillow search parameter. If you go to Zillow and start searching for a property and you look in the specifications for what type of property you're looking for, just click on that drop-down menu. You could see whole house or room. And the room thing, it has a little banner beside it. It says new. Yeah. So you could search for rooms available for rent right on the Zillow platform. I guess that is the stamp of approval or the imprimatur that suggests that this is real and it's here and it's not going away anytime soon. Number three, this is big news of 2023. The housing market did not crash. I know that seems kind of obvious now, but you know, it didn't seem obvious when people were getting millions of hits on their YouTube channel at the end of 22 saying the market was going to crash in 2023. And I said then, those are the same people that said it in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, and then doubled down after the pandemic began in 2020 and then again in 2021. For years, people have been saying that the market's going to crash. And if you look on YouTube right now, you'll see that there are a bunch of people that say the market's going to crash in 2024. And they like to quote people like Warren Buffett and Grant Cardone and happily take them out of context, and they're talking about commercial, and we're going to talk about commercial before this is over with today. But they'd use that and say that the housing market's going to crash. But that's not what those guys were saying at all. But by mentioning their names, they get a lot of clicks. I think it's cynical, and there's something that's not quite right about it. But the housing market did not crash in 2023. And here's a sneak preview of some predictions I'm going to make later on in the show. It's not going to crash in 2024 either. Okay, we'll get back to that. Number 4. Mortgage rates reached the highest level in the past 20 years. That's big news. But maybe even bigger news is this did not kill the real estate market. That's because mortgage rates, they do have an impact, of course, on the real estate market. But you know what happens? People adjust. They begin to adjust their thinking. When rates went up, and they went up pretty quickly or in the relative, span of things, but people learn how to adapt and adjust, and they begin to realize and settle in, well, this is what we can afford now. And if you have to buy a house, you buy a house. All right. Number 5, housing affordability is at an all-time low in 2023. An all-time low. I mean, even back in the 1970s and 80s when home interest rates were 17 and 18%. I've said it on this show before, I bought my first house in 1981, and I had, what credit I had was good. I'd never missed a payment on my car, never been late. That's the only credit that I had. And so with good credit, my interest rate was 12% on my first home purchase. Yeah. And it was not uncommon to see rates around 17 or 18%. But even then, home affordability was more available because home affordability is not just tied to the interest rate. It's also tied to income relative to inflation and home prices. All right, I'm going to say more about home prices in this episode coming up, but home prices have shot up over the last 4 or 5 years with interest rates going up, income remaining flat, and everything else, the cost of living, inflation, being the highest it's been in the last 40 years. That makes housing affordability an all-time low. Since we have been measuring this, 2023 was the worst year for housing affordability. And guess what? It did not kill the real estate market. All right, number 6. The National Association of Realtors lawsuit reached an initial conclusion, and nothing changed. I predicted it when the lawsuit was filed, I think 4 years ago. Even if they win, nothing's going to change. Even 4 years ago when the suit was filed, I thought that the premise was not really valid because the premise of the lawsuit is that NAR has somehow colluded with real estate agents to force everyone to use a buyer and seller agent. And that's not true. It's never been true. And you have to accept the commission that they demand or you can't do it. Well, they do pretty much have an understanding this is what the commission is and you're expected to pay it. And they engage in something that we call the presumptive close, but it's still negotiable. It's always been negotiable. You can pay less. Now, you may not find an agent that's worth their salt to do it for less, but I know for many years, at least 10 years, there have been flat fee agents out there. And I've even used flat fee agents. And my own agent that sold a lot of my houses in the metropolitan Atlanta area over the years, he's not a flat fee agent, but he would list my houses for a flat fee because I gave him so many of them. So it's always been negotiable. Anyway, so I thought that there wasn't a whole lot to this, but the lawsuit reached a conclusion. I'm going to say more about the lawsuit in a minute, so I think I'll just go on now. But nothing has really changed. And ultimately, it's not going to have much of a difference. I'll talk about a few implications in a few minutes. Number 7, builder interest rate buy downs are making a comeback. Now, what is that? This is when a builder, it's got new construction, they will pay some money, maybe between 6 to 12% of the purchase price of the home, to buy down the interest rate to make the home more affordable. All right, that's been around. It was around before, and now in the past 18 months or so, it's made a real comeback. And thanks in large part to this practice, new home sales in 2023 were 13% of all homes sold. That's the highest since the first quarter of 2021. Now, that's in spite of a 7.5% published interest rate. So even when the interest rate was going up, and that was the published rate, builders were buying it down by basically taking money right off of their bottom line at closing. It's a fairly complicated thing. I don't want to get into all the details of it, but if you go to buy a house today, you could conceivably get a lower rate if the builder is offering a buy down of the rate. All right, number 8, remote work. Remote work is taking over. And because of that, there is a reset coming in 2024 on commercial office space. And I'm going to say more about that in a few minutes. Number 9, home values have finally flattened out. They're just up 0.5% over a year ago, but still they're up almost 40% in the last 4 years. Number 10, iBuyers are on the rise, even though they don't make money, and even as Zillow and Redfin, two of the biggest iBuyers, bowed out in 2023. So those are the 10 biggest stories of 2023, and I want to take a couple of minutes and talk about the outlook for 2024.